Okay. So one thing we learned yesterday that we're going to bring over everything from yesterday with parallel lines and transversals. But one important fact is that parallel lines, and if you ever want to say parallel in math, but not write the actual word parallel, you just use this symbol, two vertical lines. So parallel lines and transversals form either congruent or supplementary angles. And if you ever want to say angles without writing the word, just make a little angle with an apostrophe S. Um, so I want to talk about this congruent or supplementary really quickly. When two angles are congruent, what does that mean? Does anyone know and can share? They're equal. So it forms equal size angles. Or how about angles that are supplementary? Yeah. Supplementary means they total up to 180 degrees. Okay. So take this situation here where we have 140. Okay. It says use your knowledge of parallel lines and transversals to find the missing angles. We can find all of these angles, right? Let's find all the angles that are congruent, equal to 140, starting with x. What's the relationship between this angle that's 140 and the one that's x? Yeah. So we're looking for words like corresponding, vertical, alternate interior, alternate exterior. What's the relationship here? These are corresponding. And so that's the first one. We could just say x equals 140 degrees. And the reason is corresponding angles. So you should always have some reason. And that's a big thing in geometry. So be prepared next year in geometry to learn a lot of terminology, much more than we did in algebra. And you got to use it constantly. Okay, so this is 140. And just for practice, I know this other angle up here is 140. What's the relationship with our original 140 and this one? Yeah, but why? Starts with a V. Yeah, vertical angles. Vertical angles. Yeah, angles are vertical, and this is 140 because of vertical angles. And then this angle here in my original 140, alternate interior angles. Okay. Um, so remember, they're on the inside and on opposite sides of the angles. So if you see both angles are on the inside and they look the same size, like these are, it's a good bet that they're alternate interior angles. Okay, let's get the other ones. So for example, this angle here is not 140. 40? Yes. So it would be 180 minus 140. So this is 40. And this is vertical to the 40. So this is 40. This is alternate interior. We could use that. Or from the original one, we could say corresponding. Alternate exterior on the opposite sides and on the outside. So, okay. So we just found all of the angles. So I'd like you to try that on the others. You got 3 here to try. And on the last one, they're asking you to find an x and a y. So find all the angle measurements, just like we did here, on 1, 2, and 3 that follow. Okay? I'll give you a little bit of time. So we started off the next one. And so the angles would either measure 40 degrees or 140 degrees. I'm sorry, we're looking at the wrong one. 71 degrees or 109 degrees. And, oh, I missed one too. These two are vertical to each other, so they would be 71 degrees. Okay. The next one, they give us 101 degrees here, and this acute angle can't be 101. It has to be the supplement. So 180 minus 101 is 79. And then you could find this one from vertical angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles. And then you could do the other ones, vertical angles to find these two, alternate exterior here, alternate interior there. So let's find x and y. Okay, on the last one here. So let's find x, 46-degree angle and x. Are they going to be congruent or supplementary? Supplementary. If you're wondering, how can you tell if they're going to be congruent? They should look the same size. And they are obviously different sizes. So if they're not congruent, they're going to be supplementary. You have an obtuse and an acute, so you want 180 minus 46. So that's 134, and that's supplementary angles. So let's find y. 46. And these are corresponding. The 46-degree angle and this one match up. One's outside, one's inside. So these are corresponding. So now we can find all of the angles. Okay, we can find all the 46-degree angles. Right. And then we could find all the 134-degree angles. Okay. Okay, shall we go on to the next page? Okay. So now that we have that knowledge, let's use it here. So we're going to use what we know about parallel lines and transversals to set up equations and find the value of x. Okay, so let's take a look at these two angles. Are they congruent or supplementary? Supplementary. So I'm going to put a second loop there to show they're not the same size. That means one equals the other. So I can say, well, I could say 7x. It's not that one equals the other. It's 7x minus 5 plus x plus 1 equals 180. Okay, and that's because these have to be supplementary. Okay, so go ahead and solve that. Let's find out what x is. Combine, etc. And we'll get a value for x. I think we've done that too many times for me to go over it. I think you could just tell me at the end. Does anyone know what x is? We didn't even have to distribute. What's x going to be? 23. Okay. So now, if we needed to, in some cases, they may ask, what's the actual measure of this? Well, it's 23 plus 1. So it's 24 degrees. Okay. So if you needed the other angle, you could do 7 times 23 minus 5, or 180 minus 24, in which case you would get 156. Okay. All right. So if need be, we could find those angle measurements now. All right. Let's look at this one. We have this angle and this angle. Are they congruent or supplementary? These are congruent because they're alternate interior. Okay. So the equation we could set up is 6x plus 10 equals 5x plus 28. And now we just have an equation with variables on both sides. So we would solve that. And it's actually an easy one because when you subtract 5x, you just get x on the left. So we're going to get x equals 18 degrees. Okay. And then you could just substitute in if you needed to. But they just want you to find x here. So I'm going to leave you working on the last one. Decide which one this is. Congruent or supplementary. So decide what we have here. Are these congruent angles or supplementary angles? Okay. So set it up and solve. Okay. Okay. And if we solve this, we get x equals 30. Okay, so the assignment is on delta, and you'll have questions like this guy.